Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Amy J. Springs of I think you a show, a show news in the way on tonight. This is an update inflation. In October the 23rd of this year, the prices had increased by 3.2% compared to October the 2022. According to 12-month percentage change in the Consumer Price Index, the monthly inflation rate for goods and services in the United States. So the data represent the United States city average. So October the 2023, the prices had increased. So the number is 3.2%. So that means that's pretty good. Pretty good. So inflation right now in 2023 headline inflation showed cooling in October from 3.7%, to 3.2%. A sign of October, a sign that it may be trading in the right direction. So Bureau of Labor status, October the 2023 of this year, the Consumer Price Index reported revealed cooling headline inflation in 3 days ago. So inflation is the rate of increase in prices that's over given a period of time. Inflation is typical of broad measures such as the increase in the cost of living in the country. So the key points of inflation, so the October Consumer Price Index increased 3.2, like I said earlier, so that's pretty good. So on an annual basis, on a regular basis, according to the Bureau of Labor Status Monthly Inflation Report, that down from 3.7 in September. So in September it was 3.7. So we're doing good if it had dropped to 3.2. So the COVID pandemic was 91%, and that was real high. And that was in June of 2022. That was pretty high. Gasoline prices, was a big driver of reduction in October. Economists said housing inflation also continued to cool. Now, just the chart. The chart of October of this year was 3.2. September of this year was 3.7. So it was 3.7 in September, and so it went down in October to 3.2. So August of this year it was 3.7. So we got September and August 3.7. So we have July of this year, it was 3.2. So even though it was 3.7 in September and August, it's still pretty good. It's not too much high. So that's the update in the chart for inflation. So we have Kool in the game. I don't know if y'all remember Kool in the game, but I'm pretty much everybody know about Kool in the game. He took part. On today. So Kool in the game, a drummer and a founding member, the George Funky Brown. Now he died, and his family announced that he was 74 years old. So Brown found Kool in the game in New Jersey in 1974. Alongside brothers Robert, Kool Bell, and Ronald Bell, Dennis D.T., Thomas, Robert, Spike McCain, Charles Smith, Woodrow, Woody, Sparrow, and Ricky West. All that was in the Kool in the game, So in addition to playing drums, Brown co-wrote many other groups' biggest hit. So he pretty much, was writing the songs, and they had pretty much hits. I loved the Kool in the game back there. So he was the one was a co-writer of many of the group's biggest hits. So including that number, one classic celebration as well as latest night. Jungle Boogie, Get Down on It, and Too Hot. So Kool in the game drama. And funny member, and George Funky Brown died at 74 years old. It's pretty much still was a good age, that he lived on this earth. Once you get past your 60s, it's a blessing that you're still here. So this happened in Mississippi. A family of a man, he was hit and killed by the police car, not notified of the death for months. So a mother had searched for her missing son for about 7 months. 7 months she looking for her son. Finding out that her son Dexter had been struck and killed by the police. Now, the car, in an hour after leaving the home, the police had known Dexter's name but failed to contact his family. So now for 7 months, she been looking for her son to find out that the cop hit him and they buried him. And sometimes many people's phone is not updated. But when an incident occurs, don't bury no one child until you contact the family. If the phone is outdated, pull up the address and go to that person's house. You can't bury someone's child without contacting some part of the family. You have to pull it up and find a family member. Pull up the address. Because a lot of time, like we feel like these phones in the hospital for emergency contact. But we done got our number changed so many times. If your mom or whoever is under probably got, but the address, pull up the address or pull up anyone that's in that family and pull up the address to locate that person. Because this woman was looking for her son for 7 months. Only they would have went to her house. They could have pulled up the address of the mother's house. So if they have an incident, just for all the police, and you feel like you call and you don't have no response from the number. A lot of times, so many of us get our number changed so many times. So you have to really pull out the address to locate that person, before you decide to bury somebody's child. So that's all the news I have for you right there. I do have a word for you now. We're still talking about Jesus up into Thanksgiving. So Jesus healed. Now first he got baptized. He had to get clean. He on his journey. He on his journey. He started his ministry and everything. So he had to get baptized. He got baptized. We talk about that yesterday. And then he began his ministry. He started preaching. So now, remember Satan wants to try to manipulate him to turn his stones into food. It wasn't time for him to use his power. Okay, so now is the time. He gonna be doing miracles. He gonna be healing. He gonna be healing the diseases and everything and sickness. So now is the time for him to use his power. So now Jesus on his journey, he teaching and he's healing the sick. I'm sorry, the story will come from Matthew chapter 4, verse 23 to 25. So Jesus had went throughout Galilee, teaching in the synagogue and proclaiming the good news, of the kingdom. Because, anything dealing with the kingdom, anything dealing with the word in this Bible is good news. And healing every disease and sickness among the people. So now it's time for him to use his power and he healing everyone. Anybody that have diseases, anybody have sickness, he healing. Now Jesus was teaching, he was preaching, and he was healing. And these was the main aspect, of his ministry. So teaching. Okay, teaching showed Jesus concern for the communicating who God is. So he getting his ministry and organized. Now these are three main things, teaching, preaching, and preaching and healing. Motivating. So the first one is teaching. So Jesus showed concern for the community who communicating who God is. So he letting everybody who God is. And so the second one, preaching, you know, teaching and preaching. So a lot of time you be teaching, and that's how I do. A lot of time I'm teaching. Depending on what I'm putting out, you preach. So teaching and preaching are two different things. Show his concern. So preaching is show his concern for motivating people to act on this knowledge by making a commitment to God. So he teach to them, and down the line he always gonna be teaching and power, to make sure they get it. So he is fresh and new right now on his journey, getting this ministry together, motivating people to act on this knowledge by making a commitment, telling them to make a commitment to God, and healing. So healing gonna show his concern for holiness of Jesus' miracle of healing. So now it's time for him to use his power, miracles and healing, all kind of stuff, So now he using his power, he teaching and he preaching and healing miracles, providing that he truly was from God, So now he starting out with his power. He's starting out with miracle. He's starting out healing people. So let people know that okay, he from the Son of God. He from God. So God have him doing all this stuff first, to healing, to preaching, so everyone can know he is from God. So news about him has spread all over. And see that's the main thing God wants. God wants the good news to go all over the nation. And see he ain't even got all across the nation yet. And the news travel. He teaching. Oh, he got that man over there teaching. He teaching, so nobody know who he is now. But all they know, somebody over there doing healing, miracles, healing with all kinds of diseases. So everybody saw coming to them with diseases and everything because they want Jesus to heal their body. So news about him spreading all over. And people brought to him all who were ill, sick, with diseases, suffering with severe pain, the demon possessed, those who having seizures and paralyzed, and he healed them all. So the word got out. The word got out quick. That somebody over there doing miracles, somebody over there healing disease. So they start bringing everybody over there to Jesus, to heal them, even paralyzed. Anybody will catch the seizures, anybody was suffering with severe pain and everything. They brought them all to Jesus, and Jesus healed them all. Healed them all. They came in sick, but they left out healed. So Jesus had preached the gospel, the good news, to everyone who wanted to hear it. So the gospel is that Messiah had come, under, in the kingdom of heaven, that God is with us, and that he cares for us, and he wants to rescue us from daily consequences. Now, Jesus can heal us, not just of physical sickness, but spiritual sickness as well. And brokenhearted. So he pretty much done discomfort here. So that's how, we preach and teach, not just from anybody that have anxiety or a brokenhearted or lack of faith, also for spiritual sickness as well, because these days, everything is about spiritual, and the main thing of spiritual, is that word. You have to feed your mind with that word. It'll help you a whole lot of everything coming at you, So We also, and sometimes a lot of us prophets, a lot of us go through a whole lot of stuff too. But we know how to heal ourselves. We know how to motivate ourselves. We able to collect the tools that we use and pass it on to someone else. Now, a large crowd from Galilee, to Jerusalem, Judea, and the religion across the Jordan followed him. So you had a large crowd coming, to hear the good news. Somebody over there is preaching the good news. Somebody over there is healing. Somebody over there is teaching. We need to go over there and hear the good news. The word got out. And see, that's what God wants. God wants that word to get out. Because a lot of times you can talk to one person. You can hear a person. It's going to get all over. God, I ain't feel good. Not sickness. We talking about spiritual brokenness. And a lot of time when you talk to someone, you don't even know it's what that person is going through. That person walk away feeling good. When she first came to you, they was broken. And you encourage someone, you motivate someone, and that's what we have to do. We don't have to ask what's the matter. You can just start talking to someone, and you can, if you a spiritual person, you can feel that something is wrong, something is not right. A lot of time I can feel some people, and some people, if they don't know you that well, they will not tell you what's going on. Everything will just be okay. A lot of time, Jesus don't just only heal sick people, diseases. Jesus also healed broken people, that went through something. That's a man thing he wants to heal too, because you go through so much, and a lot of time, a lot of people don't know what you're going through. But you can talk. That's why you always have to be kind and nice to everyone, because you don't know what that person going through. A good word from someone can help someone. They can come to you broken and leave from you feeling good, being motivated, you encourage someone. So a legend of 10 Galilee city, east of the Sea of Galilee, had journeyed together, for better trade and neutral defense. So Jews and Gentile was coming long distance to hear him. So you got the Jews, you got the Gentile, they're coming from a long way just to see Jesus. And see a lot of them don't be sick. A lot of them just need to hear that spiritual word. That's just like Mary. Mary wasn't sick, but she wanted to learn about that good news. And a lot of times you could be spiritual broken, and hear that word. That's why it's good to motivate somebody. I'm going through so much, and I still motivate someone. I still encourage someone. I still try to talk to someone and see if I can help. Because sometimes you can help someone just by speaking that word to them. Because the words in this Bible is very powerful. That's why us prophets have to meditate on this Bible, know these stories in this Bible. So when somebody come to you with a broken story, you can pick what scripture you need to encourage someone, to motivate someone. So now Jesus' ministry is all around region of Galilee. Now he and his disciples had traveled from place to place. Now see, Jesus had a stationary ministry like Peter did, but he was all over the world like Paul did. Had accomplished, had stationary all his churches everywhere. But he don't stationary at one church. Jesus was all over. Jesus was all over, and he'll find the best people to run his church. So Jesus' ministry was all over the region, Galilee. Now he and his disciples had traveled, from place to place. Now Jesus teaches in the synagogue and proclaims the good news to all that the kingdom, of heaven is near. So he was teaching everyone about God, teaching that everything is here. Teach them the rules and regulations. Teach them how to get close to God. Have your own relationship with God. You see, back then, You know, in the Old Testament, he was only communicating with Moses. Even Moses' sister got jealous. You know, but now we can have our own personal relationship with God. You know, we don't have just that one person that God talks to. We can have our own relationship with God. And Jesus was all over. He started healing in the place that he was at, and it got all over the nation. You know, everybody that was sick, paralyzed, anything that was coming to Jesus for healing. And he ain't just had only physical healing, he had spiritual healing also. You know, spiritual. That's why every time I'm talking to someone, you know, I talk to someone, the first thing I tell them about the Bible, you know, start fasting. You know, I read these scriptures every day. You know, every day, and seem like a lot of people seem like you're in a lone stone. You must not be reading your Bible, or you must not be close to God. You know, they're just like Job. Job was close to God, but look what Job went to. Went through. So a lot of time, you could be in that Bible. You can be praying. That don't mean you're not connected with God. Sometimes God use you as an example, like he did Job. He would use you as an example of your faith. Because see, God will always test your faith. God will test your heart. You know, it's the same thing he did with Job. Job's friends came and figured he did something wrong. You know, what's the problem? I thought you were close with God. You know, what you did, you made God mad. You know, sometimes it don't be that all the time. A lot of time God was testing Job's faith. God was testing to see if Job was gonna curse him out. You know, being in the storm and everything had happened to him, he hadn't lost everything. You know, but Job did not. He did not curse God out. You know, he even said to put his wife in place. You know, he put his wife in place. You know, Job kept on praying. You know, and then it just got worse until he had to pray to God and find out what's going on. You know, and because he was too scared to talk to God. You know, he don't know what had happened, what he did. You know, he didn't even pray, he didn't even talk to God. He was praying, but he was not asking God no question up until he was at the end of his rope. You know, so Jesus is a good preacher, and down the line, he's gonna be preaching in parables to make sure his disciples get it. You know, and so his first disciple that he picked was Peter and his brother. They was fishing. You know, so down the line he's gonna have about 12 disciples. And see, a lot of time, just because you're a leader and you think you got it all, no, you're going to always need help. That's just like when a man marry a woman. He need a good woman to be by his side to help him out. But we can't never think we can do it alone. You know, Jesus smart. You know, he was intelligent. But he still needed disciples to help him, you know, because he had ministry all over the world. He was healing, by himself, like he was feeding all them about 5,000 people with 2 fish and 2 bread. You know, see, we need a disciple to pass this around. You know, so we always need help. We cannot say we can do it all by ourselves. You know, so we talk about Jesus starting out his ministry. You know, setting up his ministry all over the nation because he's not gonna be stationary in one spot. He's like a missionary. You know, you're all over the world. You know, preaching and encourage people. You know, motivating people, and he gonna be doing it all over the world. And so we talk about inflation. Inflation is pretty good right now, 3.2. It's 3.2 because in October it was 3.7. So now it's 3.2. So that means in the drop down. So that means that's good. It was from 3.7 to now 3.2. You know, so and I told you about the chart. We got October, it was 3.2. September, 3.7. And then we have August. So we have September and August, 3.7. So we have October and July, 3.2. So that's pretty good that it had went down to 3.2. Uh, so that's down from 3.7 in September. So we also talk about Kool in the Game. Way back in the day. I love the Kool in the Game. But I'm sorry he had departed today. He was 74 years old. 74 years old, George Funky Brown. So Mr. Brown had found as Kool in the Game. He from New York. He born in 1974 alongside brothers Robert Kool Bear. He was with Kool Bear, Ronald Bear, Dennis D.T., Thomas, Robert Spike McCain, Charles Smith. So he was with all these people, Kool in the Game. And it was very successful. So we sorry to hear that he departed. But he lived a good life to 74 years old. And we also talk about this family here. Her son left the house, go to the store. Her son never came back home. So she put in a missing report. So she been looking for him for 7 months. 7 months she looking for her son. And come to find out, a cop had hit him, and then they buried him. So they buried her son, so meaning she had to bury him again. So he gonna be buried twice. And no one tries to contact her. One of them said they tried to call and he got no response. A lot of time when we do put contact number in the hospital, a lot of time you have to update that. If they don't respond with the number, you have to pull the address up. Or pull up. When you pull up that person up, you got the family. All kind of families should be pulling up. Somebody have to be notified. When someone died. Die, get killed. So the family member have to know. If they don't give no response from the number, you have to pull up the address. And pretty much everybody have Facebook, Instagram. It's easy to try to contact somebody. If the mama can't, be contacted, you will contact the family. The cousins, uncles, aunties, somebody. So this, imagine how this woman feel. Been looking for her son all this time, and kind of find out he was buried in a pot somewhere. So that's all the news and the word that I have for you tonight. Y'all have a good day, a good and safe day, and I see y'all on the next video.